Actually, I'm very bad. Yeah, I actually told my mom and dad that I was going to be a Muslim on Christmas Day. Yeah, it just bursted out of me, and my mom was actually cutting up the turkey, and she just she just she just was extremely shocked. She thought she had lost a daughter, and oh no, she's gonna be like, you know, what we hear in TV, and no, that can't be true, that can't be true. She kept saying to me, you don't have Muslim blood in you, why would you want to be a Muslim? You know it's gonna be difficult for you in your life. And she said, well, let's talk to your father. And my dad came and she told him what I've said. And he actually just left the house without saying anything, and he went for a walk, and he never takes a walk, so I understood what I mean, that it was really not that great. But I think because it was the day of Christmas, they wanted me to have a nice evening, like always. So they came to me and they said, if that's what you want, we accept it, we care for you, we love you, and as long as you're all right, we're fine with it. So that's actually how that ended when I actually broke the news to them. I think wearing a scarf, being a female, was more difficult because obviously it's going to be much more visible what I actually am. But alhamdulillah, I don't think I think I've had a very good approach to it. When I told my mom that I was going to wear a scarf, besides being a Muslim, she thought that this was just, you know, is quite heavy on top of me being a Muslim, that, oh, I'm also going to wear a scarf. So she said to me in the beginning, if you're going to wear a scarf, you can't come home. I won't be your mother. I can't be your mother if you're wearing a scarf. You have to take it off. If you don't take it off, don't show your face. Don't come home. I was on the phone, and I said to her, it's okay. I understand why you're saying it, and I have chosen, but it's okay. I understand you. It's okay if you don't want to talk to me. And she hung up. And 3 days passed, and then she actually called me again, and that it was kind of a conversation saying that, okay, wear your scarf. They don't really understand or like it, but they accept it, alhamdulillah. When I was reading about Islam, I knew that there was two main different directions, and my idea of the two directions, and also what I kind of was told by people, was that there was the Sunni and there was the Shia, and the Shia were not that good. Yeah. So I didn't know much about it. So for me, when I became a Muslim, I didn't really choose. At that time, I had actually friends from both sides, and both trying to give me books and these things. So I was just confused. I wanted to read myself. When I started praying, I prayed as a Shia. I downloaded a manual of how to pray, and I just kept that beside me, and until I kind of could pray. So I actually prayed as a Shia first. I didn't consider myself a Shia, I would say. for a long time. And I think that you can't always say things with words that, oh, I'm going to be a Muslim, because I think that I was a Muslim before I even knew it. Oh, I'm going to be a Shia, because it's something that develops in you. It's something that you, as you gain knowledge, as you learn, all these things develop in you. So I would say becoming a Shia is something that's grown in me. The more it's grown to my heart, I would say, the stronger I went to this direction. I've always been open. I wasn't differentiating too much between what is what. And in the beginning I was even quite, does it even matter? But the more I gained knowledge, I actually went to the more Shia side, and I actually started practicing much, much more. The thing with Islam and Shia Islam is that Islam is perfect. There's nothing about it that you won't be able to understand. There's a guideline about everything. But the thing about, and what takes you to just a different place, is when you come to Shia Islam, there's two sides of it. There's the historical side of it, and then there's the more spiritual, emotional side of it. So once you combine these two, it takes you to Shia Islam. There's a huge heart behind being a Shia, which I believe is why we are here today, why our Islam is like it is. It's preserved. So the Islam that we have today is still beautiful. It still has the messages of fighting for your rights, fighting against injustice, seeking knowledge. All these amazing messages are kept. With regards to Shia Islam, the thing is that when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was going to leave this world, obviously he had decided that Ali alayhi salam was going to continue, and I just think that the whole process of this is filled with so much heart, and there's so much more than just there's a love bound to this, and I think that's why people as well cry, because it hurts them so much, and at the same time it saves us in every way. So when you read these things, these stories, these narrations from that time, it really touches your heart, and you cannot close your eyes to it. It was a combination of it just going to my heart so much that I could just cry out of pain. And then at the same time, when you watch grown-up people at the age of your parents hysterically crying, how can you not? I have to be honest and say I actually had to read it several times. It was a lot of things to take in, and a lot of different names that I didn't know anything about. So I researched and I actually read the same things over several times to actually be able to understand it. But once I actually understood what they went through and what it means to be a follower of the Shia, that's when, it was completed. I was a Shia by heart. It doesn't mean that I didn't officially choose it before, but it's something I feel that I can't call myself a Shia before it actually went in here. So it's something that, I don't know, it's something that grew in me. It doesn't mean that you don't take the decision before or after, or being a Muslim before, after. It doesn't mean that you're not a Muslim before you actually said it out loud, but it's something that grows in you, and sometimes you're just not aware that I'm actually a Muslim already, I just need to say the words I need to say to be a Muslim. On the internet, I would basically just Google. I would just Google it and just look at all different sorts of websites, forums, I would go to the library, sit for a bit, and I would read stories of other people becoming a Muslim, their stories, these things. I had read books about going from Christianity to Shia, Muslims going from one direction to another direction. So quite a different kind of books with different kind of subjects. Some say when they convert after reading the Quran. I don't think, for some reason, it wasn't like the stone that took me to Islam, but it was a part of my research, definitely, because obviously I come from a Christian background, so I have a Bible as well. So obviously you have these two books now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I Allahs, den nådiges, den barmhjertiges navn. Alif, Lam, Mim, Ra. Jeg er Allah, den alvidende, den altseende. Dette er den fuldkomne bogs vers, og det, som er åbenbaret for dig, min Herre, er sandheden, men de fleste mennesker er ikke troende. Since I've been a young child, I've always, when I've been in some kind of, when I've been sad as a child, I remember very clearly that I would do prayers in my bed, and all the way through when I grew up. Not constantly, not every day, but if I would get really sad, I would just feel that there is something, and this is my last thing. I'll try this now. And I actually remember one time that it was an episode that meant a lot to me. My dad, he had lost something very precious to him, and he was really upset, and I was upset because he was upset, and I actually made a small prayer inside myself on my couch, and it was, subhanAllah, the next day the thing was back, and I was 100% sure that this is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has helped me. I would say in some areas more than others. I remember especially reading about in Christianity that the women used to cover. The whole thing about going to church, there was a certain way of doing it. Women were not allowed the same things or sit the same way, places as men, or sometimes not even allowed to come in. So in these ways I was definitely comparing to, okay, so a woman from Islam is all covered up, probably she doesn't have any rights. So I read about it, and then I would compare. Yeah. I came to England about 2 years ago, and I came for marriage. I had been thinking about marriage for some time, and since my parents are not Muslim parents that go and find you a partner, or you have this huge community that can just help you. I actually started writing with my husband on a marital site, Muslim marital website, and I came here to meet him and to get to know him better than what we've already got to know each other over mail. And I came here to meet him, and after being in England for 2 days, we actually did the nikah, the aqid, and my future became England. So after about a month I moved here, and I've been here ever since. First of all, the marriage completes the half of your deen, so I wanted to gain that as well. And then second of all, as any other human being, you'd like to have a life partner. I didn't expect to move to England. I didn't expect to move anywhere actually, but I think, as I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chooses your partner, and he chose my husband and England to be the place to reside. His family was extremely welcoming, especially being a convert. You don't know, like, he comes from a different country, a different culture, and you're moving to a complete different country. So I didn't really know what to expect. I just really tried to take a good grab around what we had gotten to know about each other, I think the fact that his family was so open to me and proud of me in a way, obviously was just a huge plus. Made me feel more welcome, made everything a bit more easy. The society we live in today, and so much going on in so many different countries in the world, the message that you get from Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is so usable today. You can use it even today. You can actually use his message about fighting against oppression, fighting against injustice, no matter how many people you are, how many people you are against. These legacies are universal and eternal, you can say. So when you actually discover the whole story of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, what they went through, what the women went through, how big a role model they actually can be, even though it's been so many years since this has gone on, you can completely relate to it. You can take it in your everyday life. You can take it in your life and actually remember it and act upon the message that they left for the people. Is something that you will always be able to have in your heart, that you are able to fight against oppression. You can always stand against injustice, no matter how many people you are, where you are, and who you are against. The fact that he actually left a complete ummah, a complete people still commemorating on him, remembering what he went through, living after his message is amazing. It's maybe a little bit before the whole happening of Karbala, but the episode where the Prophet called over Hussein alayhi salam when he was just a small boy, and he calls him over and he sits him on his lap and he starts weeping, and then he calls over Hassan alayhi salam to his other lap and he weeps, and then the whole thing about that he actually knows what's going to happen to them, even though it's so many years ahead. He knows, and it hurts him. That's something that definitely stays with me. Two innocent children that's done nothing wrong, and then they come from the Prophet, peace be upon him, from his family. That can happen to them, and that he knows it must be extremely painful. I'm not a mother yet, so I don't have that motherly love in me yet, but it's like a heart that's getting crushed. That's how it is. The thing with the women of Karbala is that they were so brave. The fact that they were dragged through dirty sand with no shoes, screaming, not being able to help the men that they love, the young men that they love, their children being everywhere, being captured, being kept in prison for years, dying in prison, not even being able to mourn for their children. It must feel like a rock that's on your heart. You're not allowed to lift it, you're not allowed to do anything until the day when you're actually released, where you haven't even cried for the people that you want to cry for, and when you're released you can finally do it, and the fact that a whole people were left because they did. Who is going to cry for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his whole Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and that they left a whole people that today still mourns about them. This is something about Islam you don't see in TV. You don't get this beauty. It's like an inside thing. Once you get to it, you are amazed, because this is not what you think about Muslims. When you hear about Muslims, this is not the image that we get. So it's a beautiful thing that's just hidden away a bit. How can you not, if you follow the Sunnah, which is the path of the Prophet, peace be upon him, then you're still following the Sunnah when you're following Ahlul Bayt, because Ahlul Bayt is the Prophet, peace be upon him. It is the Sunnah, so it's not, in a way it's quite logical. The thing is that, especially when you're on a researching level, not just me but other people I know as well, you can sometimes ask a question to a group of Muslims and they don't want to reply it. They don't want to explain it, and they don't really have any proof for it either. And then you can go to another place. If they don't have the proof or they can't remember it, they will get it for you, and they will make sure that you actually understand what they're saying, and then you can take it with you if you want. I think as well that when you discover the two different religions, there is a beauty over Islam and there's a beauty over the people that follow it. They have this light over them, this love inbound in their presence, and this comes from the legacy that was left for them. To me, you don't have Muslim blood in you, why would you want to be a Muslim? You know it's going to be difficult for you in your life. And she said, well, let's talk to your father. And my dad came and she told him what I've said. And he actually just left the house without saying anything, and he went for a walk, and he never takes a walk, so I understood what I mean, that I was really not that great. But I'm very bad. Yeah, I actually told my mom and dad that I was going to be a Muslim on Christmas Day. Yeah, it just bursted out of me, and I think because it was the day of Christmas, they wanted me to have a nice evening, like always. So they came to me and they said, if that's what you want, we accept it, we care for you, we love you, and as long as you're alright, we're fine with it. So that's actually how that ended when I actually broke the news to them. I think my mom was actually cutting up the turkey, and she just was extremely shocked. She thought she had lost her daughter, and oh no, she's gonna be like, you know, what we hear in TV, and no, that can't be true, that can't be true. She kept saying